Thallophytes. Thallophytes are commonly called as algae. Thallophytes are categorized in division Thallophyta under plant kingdom. So we are discussing thallophytes under chapter number 3, plant kingdom. Now, algae these days are studied under another branch of biology called as phycology. So, study of algae is known as phycology, and scientists who are working on algae, scientists who are studying about algae are known as phycologists. Now let's begin by discussing in general about algae. As you can see here on the right corner of your screen, you are able to find a figure, a diagrammatic representation of Chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas is pear-shaped and it is having flagellum, a singular form of flagella. It is having flagella which is mainly used for movement. So Chlamydomonas can move from one place to another. It is very special about its cup-shaped chloroplasts. Within the chloroplast you are able to find pyrenoid, which is rich source of protein, and around the pyrenoid you are able to find starch grains, which is source of carbohydrate. Likewise, other unicellular living organism, it is having cytoplasm, nucleus, and other cell organelles like mitochondria, here represented as mitochondrion, which is singular form of mitochondria, and we have vacuole and the other cellular structures. And on the left bottom corner you are able to find a diagrammatic representation of Spirogyra, which is special about its spirally coiled or a ribbon-shaped chloroplasts in spirally arranged. So ribbon-shaped chloroplast of Spirogyra are arranged in helical manner, spirally coiled, and these are also having rich source of protein called as pyrenoid. Like other unicellular living organisms, we are able to observe the cell wall, which is the outermost protective layer. Within cell wall we are able to find cell membrane, and within the cell membrane then you are able to find cytoplasm, nucleus, vacuole, and other cellular cell organelles. And in case of Spirogyra, they are also covered by mucilaginous sheath. Now, algae are usually simple, they are unicellular. Algae are the only living organism under plant kingdom which is having single cell. So they are having chloroplast, that's why they are called as chlorophyllous. And because of the presence of chloroplast and presence of chlorophyll pigment, which helps in trapping of sunlight energy for performing photosynthesis, they are autotrophic. They are following autotrophic mode of nutrition, and they are if they are having many cell, the cells are forming simple thallus. Thallus here refers to a leaf-like structure or many similar cells forming a leaf-like, a plate-like structure, a lamina-like structure. So they are, algae are having simple thallus. They lack tissue differentiation. They are not having tissue, they are just having a single cell, or they are forming colony by grouping together many cells. Now, regarding the habitat of algae, they are aquatic plants, or they are aquatic living organisms. They can survive in both fresh water and marine water, or marine water, whatever you say. So they are also found in moist conditions, or in shady region like moist stone, in the woods, in the forests, or in moist damp soils. Some algae form symbiotic association with fungi, and that association of fungi with that of algae is known as lichen. So you are able to observe the pictorial representation of lichen on rock and on stem of tree. They are usually whitish, grayish, greenish colored structure, leaf-like structure, or they are having a patchy appearance on rocks and on stem. So lichens are a symbiotic association of fungi and algae. Some of the algae also associate themselves with animals. Say for example, we have sloth bear. Sloth bear is having growth of green algae throughout its body, on the fur of its body. So because of the growth of greenish algae on entire body of sloth bears are usually green, usually appears greenish because of the growth of algae, and they are lazy, they are sluggish, they move slowly in the on trees, from trees to trees, very slowly they move. So because of the growth of algae, it gives advantage of defending themselves from predator. Because of the growth of algae, they show camouflage. They resemble their body color with that of the greenish color of tree leaves and greenish tree. So in a way they are defended or protected from the predator. In case of algae, they receive water and food from the body of sloth bear. So we have algae associating with animals. Animal here is sloth bear. So we study algae with ease under three main classes. We have Chlorophycy. The name chloro refers to the chlorophyll pigment present within the chloroplast, and they are commonly called as green algae. We have Phaeophyceae, which are commonly called brown algae. Pheo indirectly refers to brownish color. We have Rhodophyceae, which are known as red algae. Rhodo means red, so red colored algae are commonly called as red algae. Red colored algae, which are technically called Rhodophyceae and are commonly called as red algae. Now we were discussing about three different classes. So if I give examples of three different classes of algae, we have in case of Chlorophyceae, we have Chlamydomonas. Chlamydomonas, as you can see in the microscopic image, they are moving, right? They are moving from place to place. They are showing some movements. And we have Eulothrix, which usually form ball-like colony. We have Spirogyra, which is having unique rod-like structure. We have Chara, which is herb-like structure. They can be observed with naked eye. We have Chlamydomonas, we have Spirogyra. All these greenish colored algae are called as green algae and are categorized under class Chlorophyceae. We have Phaeophyceae, which are called as brown algae. Phaeophyceae is a class of algae which includes Ectocarpus, Dictyota, Laminaria, sargassum, and fucus. We also have red algae members like Polysiphonia, Porphyra, we have Gracilaria, Gelidium. So all these reddish colored algae are categorized under Rhodophycy. Now what about the habitat? Where do we found these algae, different algae? So regarding Chlorophycy, they are mostly freshwater. They also survive in brackish water. Brackish water here means a water with mixture of fresh water and salt water. That is, it is less aligned than that of seawater. Water is marine. They are having high content of salt, but in case of brackish water, they are usually having less content of salt in comparison to seawater, and these are also having fresh water. So for example, we have estuaries where meeting of fresh water from the river streams and seawater occurs. So estuaries are meeting point for freshwater and seawater, and in those areas, in those aquatic body, we also found green algae. Regarding Phaeophyceae, the color of the Phaeophyceae is brown, so they hardly require photosynthesis. They are not dependent on, not much dependent on photosynthesis for food. That's why they are mostly marine. Some are surviving in brackish water. So most of the brown algae hardly survive in freshwater. So freshwater brown algae are very rare. Regarding Rhodophyceae, they are usually found in marine salt water. They prefer warmer places, so some of them are also freshwater red algae. Some of them also survive in brackish water. Now, on the basis of these different habitats, we can say that algae are aquatic living organism, or algae are living organism which survives in water, and they are categorized under plant kingdom. Now, how do algae reproduce? Algae follow either asexual mode of reproduction where there is involvement of single parent, or it may be following sexual reproduction where there is involvement of two gametes and fusion of those two gametes occurs, and in a way there is production of new offspring, right? New algae. Algae being unicellular, they show considerable variation in types of sexual reproduction and formation of different cells. So formation of sex cells are different in different algae, and they follow different ways of sexual reproduction. Now in case of asexual reproduction, we have either vegetative mode of reproduction, or some follow spore formation. Some of the algae also form spores. Now let's discuss each of the classes of algae and how they are undergoing different modes of reproduction. In case of Chlorophyceae, they undergo fragmentation as vegetative mode of reproduction. As you can see in the figure, you are having a parent Spirogyra which breaks into tiny fragments, and there is formation of daughter Spirogyra by division of cell. So in case of fragmentation of Spirogyra, which is one of member of Chlorophyceae, they undergo fragmentation, formation of tiny fragments, formation of tiny segment of Spirogyra, and from those segment there is formation of new algae, new Spirogyra. Likewise, other members of Chlorophyceae follow the same vegetative mode of reproduction. Even in case of Phaeophyceae and Rhodophyceae, vegetative mode of reproduction is fragmentation. Now, regarding spore formation, in case of members of Chlorophyce, they produce zoospores within zoosporangia. Zoosporangia is the fruiting body or sac-like structure within which there is production of zoospores. As you can see here, Chlamydomonas is producing tiny daughter spores within a sac-like structure, and that sac-like structure is known as zoosporangium, and zoospores are produced within the zoosporangium. In case of sexual reproduction in members of Chlorophyce, they either follow isogamous or anisogamous, or some of them also follow oogamous. Now, what is isogamous? Iso means same, similar. Gamous means fusion. So isogamous is fusion of similar gametes, morphologically similar gametes, as two gametes having same size, same shape, same morphological characteristics, same. So fusion of morphologically similar gametes of members of Chlorophyce. As you can see here, Chlamydomonas is producing similar gametes, and on fusion there is formation of new cell, and that is known as isogamous sexual reproduction. And isogamous is opposite of isogamous, which means fusion of dissimilar gametes or morphologically dissimilar gametes. In case of shape, structure, size, there is fusion of two different gametes of members of Chlorophyce, and we can call this mode of sexual reproduction as anisogamous. Regarding oogamous, there is fusion of large egg, which is stationary, which is not mobile, and with that of sperm cell, which is usually mobile and which is smaller in size. So oogamous is fusion of egg cell with that of male gamete. Now, regarding Phaeophyceae, they also follow fragmentation as vegetative mode of reproduction. In case of spore formation, members of Phaeophyceae produce pear-shaped zoospores, which are having two flagella, unequal flagella, which are attached laterally. So as you can see here, the spore produced is pear-shaped, which is pear-shaped, pyriform. Pear-shaped is also known as pyriform. So pear-shaped, and we are able to observe two unequal flagella, which are present laterally, present at the side of the zoospore. And regarding the sexual reproduction in Phaeophyceae, they follow isogamous, anisogamous, or oogamous manner. But in case of oogamous, there is fusion of pear-shaped or pyriform gametes either in water, or it may fuse within the structure of female where there is production of eggs. So oogonium is a sac-like structure within which eggs are produced, and or we can say that oogonium is gametangium of female. So gametangium here means a structure or a cell or an organ which produces female gametes. So fusion of pyriform or pear-shaped spores in case of Phaeophyceae, or gametes in case of Phaeophyceae, usually occur either in water or within the oogonium. Now, regarding Rhodophycy, they also follow fragmentation as vegetative mode of reproduction. They form non-motile spores. Regarding sexual reproduction in Rhodophycy, they follow oogamous, and there is complex post-fertilization development. In case of Rhodophycy, being they are multicellular and they are having large thallus, that's why. So these are the terminologies that we had discussed. Gametengym is a specialized cell or organ which usually produces gametes, found in algae, ferns, and some plants. Isogamous is fusion of male and female gametes having similar morphology, similar in size, shape, and other external characteristics. Morph here refers to form. Logy here refers to study. So study of forms or study of external features or forms. So anisogamous is opposite of isogamous, that is fusion of male and female gametes having different morphological features. Regarding oogamous, there is fusion of large female gamete which is immotile or non-motile with that of male gamete which is motile. Now this is a diagrammatic representation which is taken from your NCERT textbook, and here in this in the first row there is representation of green algae. The first one is that of the volvox, a colony of volvox, showing daughter colony and parent colony. Parent colony is large, forming a ball-like structure. In case of daughter cell, it is observed as darker greenish structure, ball-like structure. And in case of Chlamydomonas, as we have seen the diagrammatic representation, they are movable and they are possessing flagella. And we have Chara, which looks similar to the herbs or grasses. And we have, in the second row, we have brown algae. The first one is that of the laminaria or laminaria. In case of laminaria, they are having holdfast, which is holding the entire algal body onto the substratum, and there is a stem-like structure called stipe and a leaf-like structure which is grown on the stipe called as frond. So in case of your fucus, also holdfast is present. We have frond, and they are also having a bladder which is helping in floating of the lamina or the thallus of fucus. We also have Dictyota, which is having stipe, frond. Now the last row shows members of red algae. We have Porphyra, which is leaf-like reddish multicellular thallus, and we have Polysiphonia, which is looking similar to grasses, right? Herbs. Now let's discuss about characteristic features of algal body. Regarding algal body, we have, in case of the members of Chlorophycy, we know that Chlamydomonas, they exist freely with they don't form colonies, so they are unicellular and existing in free form. But in case of volvox, you are able to observe them in colony. They form group, so they are members of Chlorophycy may be unicellular, free living, or they are colonial form in case of volvox. And even in case of Spirogyra, they are forming huge colony. They form algal bloom also. So in case of Spirogyra, you can observe tiny hair-like structure, tiny fiber-like structure which is joined to form network. And if you observe under microscope, then you are able to find the rod-like structure of Spirogyra. And in a way, we can say that Spirogyra, as they are having tiny thin hair-like structure, we can call them as filamentous. So members of Chlorophycy may exist in either unicellular free living form or in colonial form. Now in case of members of Phaeophyceae, some are simple branched and they may be having filamentous form, having hair-like tiny structure growth from the simple branched in case of Ectocarpus. But in case of Claps, they are having height of about 100 meters. So that means they are having tall algal body, and they are profusely branched. They are densely branched profusely here means densely branched. And as we had already discussed in brief, in case of laminaria, we can observe hold fast, which is root-like structure which holds the entire body of laminaria on substratum. We have stipe, which is stem-like tiny stalk, and we have frond, which is leaf-like structure. Now in case of Rhodophycy, which are commonly called as red algae, they are having red thalli, and thalli are mostly multicellular, so some of them also show complex body organization. Now let's discuss about the cellular characteristics of Chlorophycy, Phaeophycy and Rhodophycy. In case of the pigments in Chlorophycy, we have chlorophyll A and B. In the members of Phaeophycy, we have chlorophyll A and C. They are also having fucoxanthin, which is showing a dark greenish to brown shades of color. They also possess carotenoid and xanthophyll. Carotenoid is shades of orange. Xanthophyll is yellowish in color. In case of Rhodophycy, they are having special pigment called phycoerythrin. A red pigment, phycoerythrin, is present along with the chlorophyll A and D. Regarding the chloroplast of Chlorophycy, in case of Chara, we are able to observe a tiny disc-like structure. If you observe the diagrammatic representation on the right, you are able to observe tiny disc-shaped structures. So chloroplast in case of Chara is disc-shaped, and in Maugeotia we have plate-like chloroplasts, and in case of Cladophora we have reticulate chloroplast. That means the chloroplast is in network. In case of Chlamydomonas, it is having cup-shaped chloroplasts, and in the Spirogyra, we are able to observe ribbon-shaped chloroplasts which are arranged in spiral manner. Now in case of Phaeophycy, they are having special chloroplast which is membrane bound by 4 membranes, and in case of the granum, each granum is having 3 thylakoid. So thylakoid in stack of 3 is present in the chloroplast of members of Phaeophycy, and their chloroplast is surrounded by 4 membranes. In case of Rhodophycy, they are having red colored chloroplast called Rhodophycy, so red chloroplast is present. Now in case of stored food in the cell of Phaeophycy, members of Phaeophycy, they may be having starch, which is rich source of carbohydrate. They may be also having pyrenoid, which is containing protein. Usually pyrenoid is located within the chloroplast, as we have observed in the Spirogyra and Chlamydomonas. Some of members of Chlorophycy also store their food in the form of oil droplets. In case of the members of Phaeophycy, they store their food in mannitol laminaria. Regarding the members of Rhodophycy, they are having Floridian starch, which is similar to the components of starch, that is amylopectin and glycogen. So Rhodophycy usually obtain the carbohydrate or food from Floridian starch. Regarding the cell wall of Chlorophycy, they are having rigid cell wall made up of cellulose and outer layer of pectose. Regarding the member of Phaeophycy, they are having cellulosic cell wall which is surrounded by gelatinous coating, which is having a mucus coating. And in case of Rhodophycy, the cell wall is mainly cellulosic cell wall. Now this entire table is summarizing what we have studied so far. So this is a summary of entire concepts that we have studied without diagrammatic representation. So you can take this, you can download this table by going through the description. I'll upload the link of this table. A PDF form of this table is there in the description of this video, so you can go through that. Now, why we are studying about algae? What are the economic importance of algae? Algae are said to be the only living organism that fix 50% of carbon dioxide. If there is increase in carbon dioxide, then it will increase the average temperature of the earth, which in a way cause global warming. But because of the algae, they fix 50% of the carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere into oxygen. So algae usually undergo photosynthesis. They use carbon dioxide for preparing their food, and in a way they give out oxygen as byproduct. So algae is important for fixation of carbon dioxide, and in a way we are receiving oxygen. So 50% of the carbon dioxide is fixed by algae, and which in a way gives large amount of oxygen. Some algae like Porphyra, Laminaria and Sargassums are also consumed as food. So as you can see on the right corner, you are able to find a packet of seaweed which is consumed for preparing food in some coastal regions. So most of the coastal regions, people surviving in coastal area, they consume algae. Algae are rich source of minerals. Agar is a powdered form which is produced from Gelidium and Gracilaria, is helping in solidification of ice cream, jellies, and because of the good characteristic of algae to get solidified within, say, like 30 to 45 minutes. Algae is also used for growing microorganisms in laboratory. As you can see here, Petri plate with medium and growth of bacteria and growth of other fungi and microorganism is mainly achieved because of proper growth is achieved because of the solidification of synthetic medium which is present within the culture medium, or the substratum on which different microorganisms are growing are solidified mainly because of the agar, the powdered form of Gelidium and Gracilaria. So Gelidium and Gracilaria is used for preparation of agar, and in a way it is used for preparation of ice creams, jellies, and it is also used in laboratory for preparing medium for microorganism. Some marine red and brown algae are used to produce hydrocolloids. Hydro refers to water and colloids is a mixture. So hydrocolloids are having ability to hold water, and because of the ability to hold water, it is having different uses. So for example, algane is a hydrocolloid which is obtained from brown algae, and carrageen is a kind of hydrocolloid which is obtained from red algae, and these are having different uses. So we have algane from brown algae and carrageen from red algae. These are called hydrocolloids having ability to hold water, and these are used in medical purpose and also used for transportation of perishable fruits, vegetables. Now in case of chlorella and spirulina, they can be grown in large number within short period of time and are rich source of protein. Hence the spirulina and chlorella are used as protein source, and these are also consumed as food supplement. So with this, I think you have understood brief about algae. Now you can try to answer these questions. So first question is, state the importance of algae. Second, you have to illustrate the distinguishing characteristics of Chlorophycy, Rhodophycy, Phaeophycy in the form of table. And third question is, you need to discuss about the body organization in case of algae, which are included under Phaeophycy, with the help of well-labeled diagram showing hold fast, stipe and fronds of algae. So this is all for your topic algae under plant kingdom. And algae is not just studied under plant kingdom. Earlier, according to the studies of biology, according to the history of biology, algae is studied under plant kingdom, but we have lots of information about algae, and hence these are also studied under phycology. So with this, I'll stop here. Thank you.